Hello, hello. This is Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. Oscar Mike Radio is part of the Hubuzoo Network. You can find out more on hubuzoo.com. And today it's number 144. I am in the City of Champions again. Yes, Brockton, Massachusetts, the one and only. I love being back here, and I have a special guest on today. Today is a huge day of first. I am with real estate agent, Brockton native and veteran supporter, Joyce Asack of Remax Realty. Joyce, welcome to Oscar Mike Radio.
Thank you for having me. I am excited to finally have the opportunity to sit down with you and talk about what I do.
Joyce, I got to tell you honestly, I moved to Brockton in 2013, 14, and the first thing I noticed is the Asack name is everywhere. You guys have a farm. You guys have a clothing and footwear store. There are restaurants. Oh my God, what is going on with the Asacks in Brockton?
It's Brockton. This is a city of champions. I love my city. I've been here since 1978, I believe. We came here in the blizzard of 78, and my family's been here. Long time Brocktonians. We have a lot of family that started off in Brockton and still, whether they're business owners or they still live here. I mean, this is where our roots are, is Brockton, City of Champions.
It is a City of Champions, and that's the thing. I believe, if I understood correctly, that your family, or a lot of them, have migrated from Lebanon. Am I correct with that? Correct.
A lot of my family was already here. My parents and I and my sister at the time just came over here for a vacation in 1978. And at the time, the war had broken out, and there was a freeze, and we weren't able to fly back home. So we got into the school system, and then my parents were like, okay, once they graduate high school, we'll go back. But they loved it here, and we stayed here, and this is what I call home.
So the Asack family, and by extension yourself and your parents, are a true success story. The American success story. You come over here, you can't go back, but you've made it here. I mean, you're very involved in the community. I met you at a parade, I believe, and there's Joyce Asack School Committee, and you came up and said, thank you for your service. We started talking, and I got a really nice picture with you, by the way. I know, hey, folks, she does not she'll take a picture with you, but you got to make sure that there's a lot of checks and balances to get that picture out there, but I'll post that one. She might get mad at me, but oh well. But the thing is that struck me is learning about your story is you came here, you stood up in Brockton, and you kind of took that champion's mantle on, and your family's just established here. And now you do real estate, and I'm kind of curious because to me, real estate's always changing. There's always things going on there, especially for veterans. I kind of wanted to know how you got into real estate, and then we'll talk more about how veterans can benefit from working with you and your company.
Ever since I was a child, I used to always drive by a specific real estate company, and I would think to myself, oh, one of these days, I definitely love real estate. I want to get into real estate. So I started off my career with a different company, and that's where I learned a lot of the basics. And so once I started off in real estate, I was working for an attorney at the time, so we did a lot of real estate transactions. So I did have the passion back then, and I found the opportunity to take the classes, got into it. You have to love what you do, because if you don't love what you do, it's going to be a job. So working 7 days a week, yes, it's a job for what I do as far as real estate, but I love what I do, and seeing my clients and being there with them at the closing table and getting the phone calls and the smiles, just telling me you found us a home. To me, that's my reward. It makes a big difference.
Well, speaking of 7 days a week, sometimes you can follow Joyce on Facebook if you want to, but you're all over the place in the South Shore.
Absolutely. I pretty much service. Now that I'm doing this full time, I do have a background as far as a paralegal. So I worked with one attorney for about 7 years in Quincy and worked with another attorney in Brockton, Attorney McCluskey, and I was with him for about 13 years. And I learned a lot more when it came to real estate and zoning. So I do attend zoning meetings and things like that. So that's where I got my passion. And I realized when Remax Synergy opened my broker had reached out to me and said to me, go ahead, do this. You can sell real estate full time. You have the passion for it. Not many agents can do this full time. Take a chance. And I did. I took a chance. I left my career of 20 plus years as a paralegal and went feet first right in. And it was scary. It was definitely scary, but it was the best move I ever made, because being able to do this full time has given me the opportunity to polish my skills and be able to offer so much more to my clients. And I am all over the place because I have the time to be all over the South Shore, actually all over the area, because I've gone to Franklin. I have listings in Franklin. I've helped a VA buyer over in South Plymouth. And I actually went over the bridge with my VA buyers. So if it's within a certain amount of distance and I can do it, I will go there for my clients. But it's you have to be everywhere. You can't be a part-time agent in this industry. You have to be full-time to be able to offer a service for your clients.
So just to go back on the whole Brockton aspect, for those of you who don't know, Brockton in this part of Massachusetts gets a really bad rap. But I got to tell you, Joyce, I found the people here to be really authentic and genuine. They know that their city has a reputation, not the best one, but I've met a lot of people here who really, we're Brocktons, we're champions, and we're going to own this. What do you think that attitude comes from? And does Brockton deserve the reputation it gets?
It doesn't deserve the reputation that it gets. Every city or every town has the negative that you see on the news. Unfortunately, Brockton, the people that are in our city are amazing. We have amazing residents here. And once you get into Brockton, I do deal with a lot of buyers and sellers from other areas that want to come here. And they're drawn to Brockton, whether it's our school system, whether it's the affordability. They do want to come here.
No, but it seems like even with that bad rep, like I said, I've met people who want to make this town a better place, who are really invested in the community. And I tell people all the time, you hear Boston so much, but I said, look, one weekend you could go to the Haitian Festival, next week to the Lebanese Festival, 1 week, 1 month to the Greek Festival, and they have a Lithuanian presence here. So you can really get a diverse set of experiences right here in this city that I don't think is promoted that much outside of Brockton.
It's not. We do have a very diverse community, many cultures that we have within our city. So you are right. I mean, there are so many different events that are constantly going on. Social media is helping a lot of organizations get out there and market what they have.
So you're in real estate, you get in real estate. One thing that I get asked a lot on this podcast, and it's not just veterans here or active duty service members in this part of the country. It's everywhere, but we'll focus on this part of the country when I ask some of these at a very high level. It just seems like a lot of guys getting out of the military, and women too, I don't mean to exclude anybody, jump out and try to get the first thing they see, and they hear the word fixer-upper and I can do anything, and they get in way over their head. Two things I'd like to know more about. It seems like a lot of my veteran brethren just take the first house they see without really understanding the reality behind that. And then two, do you like working with veterans?
Absolutely. I don't like working with veterans. I love working with veterans. It's my way of being able to give back to them. So I'm not like your typical real estate agent. So when I do find a client get to the point where we're looking at a lot of homes and they're getting into the bidding war and they're not getting what they want, I can tell from their face whether or not that is the home for them. Or if they're just settling because, all right, we have an accepted offer, we can settle with whatever we're getting. I have been known to talk them out of it and tell them just be patient. We will find the house for you. Absolutely. It's not about the commission. It's about being part of your next chapter, being there with you as you start a new beginning. And that beginning is going to be your new home. I told you I'm not your typical real estate agent.
No, I mean, usually they'll sell their mother to get that line signed.
That's not me. So, and I laugh because I do tell my clients that when I first meet with them, that you will get to a point, and until you tell me you love that house, and I can tell from your face and your body language that this is the house for you, then I'm comfortable. As far as, submitting your offer. Obviously, we have to submit your offer if you want it, but it has to. And as far as a VA loan, your home has to pass certain requirements. So sometimes I can tell by looking at a home. They'll send me these listings. Oh, this is a foreclosure, or Joyce, this is a little bit of a fixer-upper. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot of work, and it's not going to pass VA. So VA does have requirements as far as their loans. So the house needs to pass a checklist. It also needs to pass the VA appraisal when they come through. So if your home, what we're running into right now is a lot of buyers are overbidding, submitting offers above asking just to get a house in this bidding war that we're in.
You love working with veterans. Did you have any military service members in your family? Do you know any in Brockton? I know Brockton has some VSOs that are really, really good guys. So I'm just curious, in your service as you serve on the school committee, right?
I do. I serve on the school committee. I do have two family members that served in the military. One was in the Army, and the other, I believe he served in the Navy.
Oh, wow. So military and Brockton go together because when we did the parade where we met, it was just a big deal. I was surprised that many people came out, and it was very nice to see Brockton supporting that with the mayor and all the local politicians and some crazy characters there that came out with us to support that. But you're a veteran, and a veteran comes to you to get a home after he or she has served. What do they need to bring to the table? And when I say that, I mean as far as expectations or paperwork or stuff like that.
I work with a handful of VA-approved lenders. So once I sit down with the buyer, a potential buyer, I will give them my checklist as to what they need to do to get ready to purchase a home. Then I give them a few names and my recommendations as to who, they should contact as far as a lender. Once they've made the contact, then I'm in communication with the lender, and they will give them a separate checklist as to what they need as far as to get their loan approved.
So what is it about working in this area that you like? What separates this part of Massachusetts, say, from the North Shore, from the Cape? Each area, the reason I'm asking is each area, from my understanding, is very, very different, requires different, almost not skills so much, but different knowledge. And the South Shore has its own set of really great attributes and challenges as well.
As far as working on the South Shore, it's just, our market here is pretty busy. We have low inventory, so we do have a lot of buyers that are out there. We do have a lot of sellers that are selling because it is a wonderful market. A lot of our sellers actually purchased their homes when the market was like this back in 05, 06, that are now getting their return on the homes that they bought. All right, so the South Shore does have a lot to offer. It's in demand because you're closer to, whether you have people that are commuting into Boston, Braintree, all those areas, and this is...
You can get to a whole lot. So you can get to a whole lot from the South Shore that you can't say if you're living out in Worcester or on the Cape. Ladies and gentlemen, I meet Joyce and tell her what I did in the Marine Corps and tell her that I got this podcast going on. And the first question she asked me was, where's your business card? I'm like, what? We should have a business card. And then we got to talking, and not only should I have a business card, I should have thank you notes, I should do this, I should do that. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on here? But come to find out, I share the podcast on SoundCloud and other areas, and she started listening, and over time, she's like, I think you should try this, or, that was really good. And then one day, she approaches me about, supporting it more and more, and I kind of mulled it over, and so it's just we're here because the support for veterans is real. It's not one of those things you just have on your website to say hey, I support veterans, come buy a house from me. It's a real thing, and she's very clued into what's going on in the community. So with that being said, Joyce, I got to ask, what do you like about the podcast?
It's real. It's
Really?
down to earth. It's real. You're genuine when you sit there in your, whether it's your interviews or you're just giving us information of current events that are going on. You're always out there reporting on different things that are in the news. And that's what I like about it. It's real.
Well, I try to be real. I try to really make this connect with people. It's hard because not everybody served in the military. So you're trying to connect something that somebody hasn't done to their personal life. Some things work better than others, but I've been willing to experiment. And if it stinks, it stinks. If it's great, we keep doing it, which is why we're here. And I don't have a drum in front of me, but I want to know if you want to take this away. Do you want to announce, why you're here right now?
Absolutely.
All right,
so
take it away.
I just wanted to say I am so proud of how far Oscar Mike has come along over the years. And I am a huge supporter and love listening to the podcast. And I am honored to be your first sponsor. So thank you.
That's right, folks. This is where women have it over men. Is Joyce didn't waste any time. And actually, she was like, "You need a sponsor. I'll be your sponsor." I'm like, "Well, let me think about that." But Joyce showed the support, and I am proud to say that Joyce is the first sponsor of the podcast. Can't wait to see what we do together, and I'm really interested to see how her support moves me forward and how I can connect her with veterans who need housing and real estate help. Joyce, this is just a great moment. This is really big for a podcaster.
Thank you so much.
The thing is, with a sponsor, it's more than just about money or about airtime. It's to me goes back to what another local businessman said, who actually, I believe you might have met him, Steve Kimball.
Actually, I'm glad that you brought up Mr. Kimball. I had a buyer recently that ran into an issue at one of the properties that they were purchasing. It wasn't a VA buyer, but I was able to, I reached out to you and I reached out to a few others looking for I believe a general contractor, because we had a structural issue. And I reached out to Steve, and he was at the home with the seller getting the issue addressed. It was wonderful to be able to give back to another veteran, a veteran-owned company. So that's what I really like about working with you, is we are giving back. We are working with other veterans that have their own companies. And like I said, Mr. Kimball, I keep referring to Mr. Kimball as Steve.
Just call him Stevie.
Stevie. So he's wonderful, and I look forward to working with him in the future. So I've also given his name to a few other realtors as far as, things that he can get done for them.
And that's what means more to me than anything else is I feel somebody has demonstrated a level of commitment, a level of advocacy that says, you know what, I can put your name on my podcast and feel comfortable that you're doing it for the right reason. And so to me, one of the things Steve taught me when I was working with him on the podcast I did with him was, if you add value to your guest or to the subject you're talking about, you can't go wrong. So being able to give his name to you was just a really good thing. And then to see it work and hear the satisfaction in your voice is just what this is all about. And I believe this is how I grow. So again, folks, this is a first on April 18th. We're actually going to announce a little bit early. But, I have a sponsor for this podcast. And a lot of podcasters will do this for years and never get the kind of support I've gotten. So I just feel very grateful, very humbled. I'm going to the Dale Dorman Media Day on April 25th. This is a 4th annual, where 4 years ago, this was just an idea I pitched to Keith Hayes and Hubazoo. And now, 4 years later, I'm getting support and connections with people that really believe in what we're trying to do and believe in veterans. And don't just talk it, they walk it. So, Joyce, we're on the move. How can people get in touch with you at Remax Realty? How do we do that?
Absolutely. So you can reach me a few different ways. It's via email, Joyce at asackrealestate.com, and that's Asack, A-S-A-C-K, realestate.com. You can find my website. We are in the process of updating the website. Remax Synergy. I am located in Brockton, but I do service all over the South Shore and surrounding areas. My direct number is 508-942-7146. Or you can check out, we have Instagram and Facebook. Just go on to Joyce, asackrealestate.com.
I'll have all the links to her Facebook, Instagram on the blog post for the podcast. Make sure you like her Facebook stuff. Make sure you like my Facebook stuff and all that social media engagement, because that's how you will stay in the know. And again, if you're a veteran or a civilian looking for a home in the South Shore area, please contact Joyce. And again, just really, really happy to have Joyce on board supporting the podcast in this way. Thank you so much. So Joyce, any closing thoughts about, this whole thing? This is kind of just an idea you threw out about 6-7 months ago. What do you think about right now? This is surreal to me.
It's surreal to you. It's surreal to me. I am excited, definitely excited. This has been a long time coming. I am very proud of where we're going to be as far as me sponsoring, being a part of the Oscar Mike family. When I said earlier, it's because you're real, and you are. You remind me a lot of how I do my business, and that's why I'm proud to be part of the Oscar Mike family. And that's the one thing I do get from my clients is they might start off as a client, but they end up being a friend. And I like I said, Oscar Mike is family, and we are going places. And I am so excited to work with some Oscar Mike listeners. Being part of Remax, I do have access all over the world. So if there is someone, even if you're not in Massachusetts and you are looking to buy or sell, I do have access to reach out to other agents all over the world and refer you to another Remax agent to make sure that they work with you and are with you along your purchasing or selling process.
So Joyce, without any further ado, when the military, Oscar Mike meant on the move, and it meant on the move, hey, we're Oscar Mike, we're on the move, we're going to load up the Humvees and the missiles and go out there and do our job. In this arena, it's about being on the move for veterans advocacy, making sure veterans understand, what the reality is when they get out of the service, supporting those veterans who are kind of retooling themselves, and connecting them with people like yourself who really believe that support's not just a buzzword on a business card. So with that said, I try to end every podcast with On the Move. And again, I'm humbled, I'm grateful, it's surreal, it hasn't really hit me yet, but I am pleased to be on the move with you and Remax. So that's it, folks. You'll see this, like everything, subscribe, and watch this space. There's more coming. I'm Travis with Joyce Asack, who's a sponsor, and we're on the move.